All right, thank you everybody for joining us today. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Sydney. I want to thank everybody for coming to our next presentation. So today we have a presentation on peer support. And we have a couple people who are going to be part of this presentation. So to start us off, we have Sarah Metz, who is the program manager from the Opioid Crisis Response Program through Health and Human Services. And then we have Angeles Guzman, who is our program manager for the Pathways to Community program here in Coconino County through Health and Human Services and the jail. And we have a couple peer supports with us as well. We have Jackie Munoz, who is coming to us in transition. She has worked for Hope Lives and is transitioning over to the Opioid Crisis Response Program. And then we have Buddy Chavez, who is also working for the Opioid Crisis Response Program. So we have a good presentation ready for you guys today. If anybody has anything, any questions, any comments, any concerns, please place that in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat and we'll address any questions that you all have at the end. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I am Sarah Metz. I am the program manager for the Opioid Crisis Response Program. And I just want to take a few minutes before we start the actual PowerPoint to just discuss our programs as well as Pathways to Community. The Opioid Crisis Response Program is through Coconino County Health and Human Services. We currently have a program manager, 2 peer support specialists, and we'll be adding on a case manager here in the next few months. The services that we provide are peer support, navigation to care, linkages to care, and just helping our clients navigate the community and finding the supports that they need. And I will just pass it over to Angeles real quick to explain Pathways a little bit.
So thank you. My name is Angeles Guzman. I oversee the Pathways to Community program. So that is the jail reentry program in Coconino County. So we have a peer support right now, which is Jackie. So we'll hopefully soon be getting another one on site. But we really value folks that have lived experience. Individuals that have lived experience should absolutely be sitting at the table when we're making decisions about programming for individuals that are involved in behavioral health or in justice settings. You will see in a lot of best practice and toolkits through SAMHSA and BJA that peer support should be embedded in the work that we do. So again, we really value peer support in our programs. It is so amazing to see them work with the folks that are coming to the jails, coming through our programs, and just reduce the anxiety and have a very level conversation where there is no power dynamic. They're able to connect with the folks that we serve on just a much deeper level than somebody like I could. So again, I will turn it over to the experts. They're the peers, but we just wanted to share a little bit about our program. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, thank you. All right, so peer support specialists. There we go. Okay. So we have a couple of definitions of what a peer support is. The first one from SAMHSA is someone with lived experience and recovery from a mental health condition, substance use disorder, or both. Peer support offers a level of acceptance, understanding, and validation not found in many other professional relationships. So that really kind of speaks to what Angeles was talking about is peers just have a very special place in this type of work. Having lived through it and knowing the challenges and the stigma that can come from it, they're able to really connect with our clients and be able to help them the best way possible. The other definition is from Axis. So PRSS is peer and recovery support specialists, have their own story of behavioral health recovery and utilize their lived experience to help the people they serve and promote recovery-oriented environments. The PRSS works with individuals during their recovery journey, sharing skills, coaching, and providing support. And the next slide goes over how someone would become a peer support specialist, how to be certified. There is a bunch of different programs through different agencies that have to be approved through Access, and you have to complete that program and pass a competency exam. There is an application process for that. Generally, you would reach out to the program that you want to take the course through. They will go through their requirements as that program, what that training will look like, and they'll send you an application essentially. The main pieces to that application, if you're trying to get certified, you have to identify as someone having lived experience with a mental health condition or conditions, and or substance use disorder. You have to be willing to share that lived experience and your process of recovery with others. And you have to actively be sustaining recovery and managing your wellness as well. Access does not have a required specific number of years that you have to be in your recovery, but they do say 1 to 2 years at minimum is best. All of those trainings, regardless of the agency that you were to take the certification through, goes through behavioral health and substance use, but some trainings might focus on like criminal justice involvement or other specialized topics such as opioid use disorder or even family support. Typically those courses are 40 hours of training, but they can vary in length depending on the program. Those that are more focused on like the criminal justice or a specific focus group tend to be a little bit longer. And then in order to sustain that certification, a peer support specialist does have to complete yearly continued education units. Does require 4 per year relevant to peer support itself. And one of those CEUs must be on peer support ethics and boundaries. So from SAMHSA, the core principles for peer work. This is what we base our work around, the values and principles that we have in all of the activities that we do with our clients. So we are recovery oriented. Peer workers hold out hope to those they serve, partnering with them to envision and achieve meaningful and powerful or purposeful life. Peer workers help those they serve identify and build on strengths and empower them to choose for themselves, recognizing that there are many ways and pathways to recovery. We are person-centered, so peer recovery support services are always directed by the person participating in the services. Peer recovery support is personalized to align with the specific hopes, goals, and preferences of the individual served, and to respond to specific needs the individual has identified to their peer. It is voluntary. Peer workers are partners or consultants to those they serve. They do not dictate the types of services provided or the elements of recovery plans that will guide their work with peers. Participation in peer recovery support services is always contingent on peer choice, meaning that we don't force them to do anything. We want to make sure that they have a say and that they're an author in their own treatment plan, and what services and supports that they want to participate in. We are relationship focused. The relationship between the peer worker and the peer is the foundation on which peer recovery support services and support are provided. The relationship between the peer worker and peer is respectful, trusting, empathetic, collaborative, and mutual. And trauma-informed, which I think is one of the most important. Peer recovery supports utilize a strengths-based framework that emphasizes physical, psychological, and emotional safety and creates opportunities for survivors to rebuild a sense of control and empowerment. So again, these are just the main principles for anybody that's doing peer work. That can be criminal justice, opioid use disorder, family, peer support. The next, SAMHSA core competencies. So these, there are many of them, there are 12. This is the general framework and guidelines to peer work in general. It gives peers subjects and items that they can work on for their development. And it also outlines how we should be interacting with our clients. Because peer work is relatively new, a lot of agencies are building their programs around this essentially, in order to ensure that we are providing the peer support to the best of our ability. So we'll go through them each year and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into each of them as the slides go on. So engages peers in collaborative and caring relationships, provides support, shares lived experience of recovery, personalizes peer support, supports recovery planning, links to resources, services, and supports, provides information about skills related to health, wellness, and recovery, helps peers manage crises, values communication, supports collaboration and teamwork, promotes leadership and advocacy, and promotes growth and development. So for the first one, engages peers in collaborative and caring relationships. The peers should be initiating contact with those in the community. We listen to peers with careful attention to the content and emotion being communicated. We reach out to engage peers across the whole continuum of the recovery process, demonstrate genuine acceptance and respect, and demonstrates understanding of peers' experiences and feelings. Providing support validates peers' experiences and feelings again, encourages the exploration and pursuit of community roles, conveys hope to peers about their own recovery, celebrates peers' efforts and accomplishments, provides concrete assistance to help peers accomplish tasks and goals. Client shares lived experiences of recovery, relates their own recovery stories and recovery stories of others with permission, of course, to help inspire hope. They discuss ongoing personal efforts to enhance health, wellness, and recovery. They recognize when to share and when to listen. This one is pretty important. Clients don't always want to hear our side of the story, so it's important to ask for permission there. And describing personal recovery practices and helps peers discover practices that work for them. Again, we want to make sure that we're person-centered and making sure that we are providing support that's going to help them the best. Personalized peer support understands their own personal values and culture and how these may contribute to biases, judgments, and beliefs. Appreciates and respects the cultural and spiritual beliefs and practices of peers and their families. Recognizes and responds to complexities and uniqueness of each peer's process of recovery. Tailors services and support to meet the preferences and unique needs of the peers and their families. We support recovery planning, assists and supports peers to set goals and to dream of future possibilities, proposes strategies to help a peer accomplish tasks or goals, short and long term. Supports peers to use decision-making strategies when choosing services and supports. Helps peers to function as a member of treatment and recovery support team. Researches and identifies credible information and options from various resources. Linkages to resources, services, and supports. Develops and maintains up-to-date information about community resources and services. Assists peers to investigate, select, and use the needed and desired resources. Helps peers find and use health services and supports. Accompanies peers to community activities and appointments when requested. Participates in community activities with peers when requested. providing information about skills related to health, wellness, and recovery. We educate peers about all of those things. We participate with peers in discovery and work co-learning to enhance recovery experiences. Coaches peers about how to access treatment and services and navigate system care. Coaches peers and desired skills and strategies. Educates family members and other supportive individuals about recovery and recovery supports. Uses approaches that match preferences and needs of the peer. Helps peers manage crises, recognizing the signs of distress and threats, safety amongst peers in their environments, provides reassurance to peers in distress, strives to create safe spaces when meeting with peers, takes action to address distress or crisis by using knowledge of local resources, treatment services, and support preferences of the peers. Assists peers in developing advanced directives and other crisis prevention tools. Values communication. So we always want to make sure that we are respectful, again, person-centered, recovery-oriented, that we're using that language in any written or verbal interactions with peers, with their family, with community members, and any other potential resources that we might be using. We want to make sure that we're using active listening skills. There's nothing quite as frustrating as having to share the same piece of your story 4 times over. So it's really important that we're listening and being able to gauge that emotion. Clarifying their understanding of information when in doubt of the meeting. I'll be the first to say when I don't know something, I'm going to figure it out for you. To have that transparency and open communication with our peers is really vital. They convey their point of view when working with colleagues. They document information as required by program policies and procedures, follows laws and rules concerning confidentiality and respect of others' rights and privacy. They support collaboration and teamwork. They work together with other colleagues to enhance the provision of services and supports. They engage providers from mental health services, addiction services, and physical medicine to meet the needs of peers. They coordinate efforts with healthcare providers to enhance the health and wellness of peers. Coordinating efforts with peers' family and other natural supports. Partnering with community members and organizations to strengthen opportunities for peers. And strives to resolve conflicts in relationships with peers and their support networks as well. Promoting leadership and advocacy. Uses knowledge to relevant rights laws to ensure peers' rights are respected. Advocates for the needs and desires of peers in treatment meetings, so ARTs, community services, living situations, so places like Catholic Charities, front door program, things like that, and with family. Participating in efforts to eliminate prejudice and discrimination of people who have behavioral health conditions and their families, so hoping to reduce stigma. Educates colleagues about the process of recovery and the use of recovery support services. Actively participates in efforts to improve their organization. And maintains a positive reputation in peer and professional communities alike. Promotes growth and development. Recognizes the limits of their knowledge and seeks assistance from others when needed. Uses supervision effectively by monitoring self and relationships. Reflects and examines their own personal motivations, judgments, and feelings that may be activated by peer work. Recognizing signs of distress and knowing when to seek support. And seeks out opportunities to increase knowledge and skills of peer support, which again comes back to those CEUs and making sure that we're staying up to date on the best practices that are available to us. All right, where do peer support specialists work? So they can work in a variety of different areas, criminal justice settings like the courts, jails, law enforcement, probation, behavioral health organizations. So you're talking like the Guidance Center, Southwest Behavioral Health, places such as that. Emergency departments, health departments, and inpatient recovery and psychiatric settings, places that provide treatment. The benefits of this. It has been shown that there are reduced rehospitalization rates for those that actively participate in peer support, reduced stays in inpatient care, lowered overall costs of services, increased use of outpatient services, and increased quality of life. So in our community up here in Flagstaff and Northern Arizona, you can find peer support specialists working at the Guidance Center, Southwest Behavioral, Community Bridges, OCR, Pathways, Juvenile Court, Hope Lives, and STAR. And I'm going to close out my portion of this with a little video of a gentleman that asked for help. He asked for support, and this is his story. And I'm happy and glad that I get to share it with you guys. And once we're done with this, we'll kind of open it up to some panelists so that they can give you, they can answer any questions that you might have and give you a little bit more of a personal touch than all of the clinical jargon that I just gave you, to give you a little bit better idea of what that actually looks like in real life. So here we go with the video.
The time I can remember being pretty young, like drinking was an everyday thing in my household. It was pretty normal in my household. So I was drinking from the time I was really young, about 11 or 12. And then from there, I was just introduced to meth and harder drugs, heroin and opiates, pain pills, and then fentanyl and different things like that. So, and then it just got progressively worse for me. I've overdosed a total of 15 times. 3 times from heroin, and the other times from fentanyl. But there was really no indicator that I was getting ready to have another overdose. It just kind of happened. There was times that I just came to where I wasn't around Narcan. I wasn't around anybody. I can't really explain what did bring me back. I just know that I'm blessed and very, very fortunate to be here now. Until, because I had done it repeatedly, I had done it over and over and over again. Until I got to a place in my life where I had lost family. I thought that family had completely given up on me. I had pushed close friends away. I was homeless. And was pretty much just, that lonely, dark, depressing place, that I mentioned earlier about the last overdose and towards the end of me using, it wasn't fun anymore. I had pushed everybody completely away, and not even the drugs were numbing my pain at that point. So really I was just running from things that I needed to sort out in my own life. Things I had been running from years, whether it was traumas in my life, traumas and pain that I had caused other people in my life through my addiction. So nothing was working anymore. So the only option I had was to, as they say, to man up or to grow up. But we all got to grow up at some point. I needed my children back in my life. When I wanted my family. And I wanted to lead by example and be a good role model. I've been completely sober since February 9th of this year. Tomorrow I'll have 5 months of sobriety. And for me, this time it took a lot of work, it took a lot of footwork. It took things that, it took losing everything in my life. I thought I had lost everything. But now that I'm sober and continuing this road to recovery, which is consisted of 12-step program, meetings, AA, and different things like that. therapy, and just being connected in the community to positive people that are taking care of their families and working hard, and doing good for their communities. My family's back in my life. My mom, my sisters, my oldest daughter, I have 2 grandbabies. And my dad passed away in May, but he got to see me sober before he passed away. I was right there holding his hand when he took his last breath. And for my father to see me sober before he passed away, that was, gives me a lot of peace. And I know that it did him as well. I've signed up at Hope Lives to do the next peer support training, which starts in August. And that's about 4 months long, but so I can get my internship with that, so that I can give back to the community and help people that are lost and that are addicted and can't seem to find their way into recovery, because people need that little push. People need help. They need somebody to hold on. And that's what helped me. I'm getting ready to go to school for my EMT, and just see what kind of doors that opens. I don't know if I'm gonna go continue on to my paramedic. I may or I may not. But when I was reading about it through the community college in Flagstaff, it's something that stood out to me. Not to mention as many times as those people have saved my life. But the human anatomy and the different kind of studies is just something that really stood out to me. To the healthcare professionals and people in peer support and sponsorship and meetings and different people, like for me in Flagstaff, Hope Lives and the opioid crisis response team is a big part of my support. And watching these individuals to see their patients and how much work they put in to help people, it is the biggest part of it. To see that another life is possible for a career and a home and an education and family and all the important things.
Aaron, he has been utilizing peer support services throughout Flagstaff, and we're just so proud. I love watching that video. But if anything, the main thing that we do as peer supports is we instill hope in those that people can and do recover. And we just help them, guide them through that process by sharing our experiences and providing as much support and resources as we can. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jackie Munoz and Buddy Chavez as kind of a panel. So if anybody has any questions, we can direct them their way and they can give you a little insight.
What is the most challenging aspect of being a peer support?
I can answer that. For me, it is all the barriers that we continue to face within the community, because we want them to have the same opportunities that we have. And not being able to help every single person is very challenging at times. For me, I want the best for every single one of my people, you know, and because for me, like I didn't have that this peer support was one thing when I got out of prison, when I got released. So I take this work very personally. It is something that I give back to my community. So when I can't meet the needs of my client right then and there, to me, that's the most frustrating thing, because I want to help and support them in anything that they do, which is not always the case. But that's definitely one of the most frustrating things for me.
I think that's the same for me as well. You know, we try to help out our clients, our peers as much as possible, but at times we just can't, you know. It is tricky, it is frustrating, but it is not impossible. So, you know, just knowledge of like all the resources that are out there is very necessary, you know, so we can get a hold of different organizations and, you know, it's not impossible. At the end of the day, we can usually get through it, but it's just getting through it that is frustrating.
I have a question. Can you guys share a little bit, like success that you've seen with the folks that you've worked with or like involved in the criminal justice system?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a lot of clients in my caseload today, and I can speak of a few, a lot of success stories that we've had just in the past year and a half. I've been in over a year since I've been in peer support. I have a client that was in jail. We got her into treatment, then to an Oxford house. She was pregnant at the time, right? And she had her baby, went through the whole process down in Phoenix through Hushabye. We have partners that we work with. And she was able to have her kid, and DES was involved, but she's doing all the things that she can. And recently she just got her own housing, and it's been amazing to see her journey. And she's doing really good, and to me, that's like the greatest gift, and she just always like praises our program for helping us. But for me, it's not about that, it's just, I love, like, when I hear the story of Aaron, you know, Aaron is one of our greatest success stories as well. You know, we see him grow from getting out of jail to where he's at today. We're graduating from recovery court next week, you know, or in a couple of weeks here. So there's so many stories that we've helped people with, and they've also helped me in that same journey. Right? I don't do this work selfishly. I do it just to give back to my community and to give the same exact same, hopefully the same gift that was given to me. My recovery is everything to me. So those are just a couple of the success stories that we have. I've seen people get connected back with their kids, complete probation, right? Go off to treatment and get the relationship back with their families, which is pretty amazing. And it just continues to grow. Like, yeah, I have so many clients that I love to see their journey. To me, that's the greatest gift of this program that I work for.
I think for me, I've had quite a few success stories within maybe like the last 6 months. You know, we have people that are getting out of jail, and you know, that's like the toughest time ever. They don't know where they're going, they don't know, you know, how to get to where they gotta go. They have no idea how they're gonna get their driver's license or their identification, and you know, starting that with them and just, you know, supporting them throughout their entire journey of whatever they're going through, whether it's probation or, you know, mental health. Seeing them succeed, seeing them, you know, continuing in their sobriety, seeing them, you know, continue each day to either reach out or to show up at Hope Lives or to, you know, reach out to me or, you know, just give me updates. I love to see, you know, how joyful they are and, you know, just see them continuing to progress in whatever they're doing. I do keep in touch, you know, with some of their like probation officers or whatnot, and just to hear that they're got all-star at something, you know what I mean? All-star at their court is so great. I think there is a lot of barriers for our clients, but it's just persistence, you know, to help them to get through it. And I think that, you know, a lot of the successes that we have would not be a success if it wasn't for people in the community and peers, you know, to be there for them. You know, I'm a person with lived experience, so it's awesome that I get to share that. I do know a lot of people in the community, so it's awesome, you know, that I can be that example, because you never know when somebody's gonna get it, you know what I mean? And when I got it, and I think it's very important for people to see, you know, peers that they used to know on the streets that are doing amazing things. Yeah.
So we do have a question from the chat, so it's kind of a two-part question, so I'll just ask, so Buddy, can you explain a little bit more about the opioid crisis response program, where it's located, how people can find you, how people could contact you and refer clients? And then Jackie, I'll ask if you could just talk about Hope Lives and explain where Hope Lives is, how people can contact them, find them, and refer their clients.
Absolutely, so, opioid crisis response team is located at the King Street Coconino Health and Human Services. So we have 2 peer supports now. If people want to, get referral, we're gonna start taking referrals again here, because we've been kind of short-staffed lately. But we receive referrals from probation officers, from people in the justice system, from Pathways send us referrals. We also have like a hotline that you can call, that you can ask for services. And if it was up to me, I would take on everybody, because I want to help as many people as I can, but I have to remember that I have to take care of myself as well, so having that much people on my caseload is tough. But I'm grateful that we finally have a little bit more staff so that we're able to help as many people as possible. But yeah, if anybody can be referred, and basically, what our program consists of is like we help people. I think she explained a lot about it already, so. Is there any more questions that you answered?
No, that was just mainly, the person was just asking about just more information on your program, so.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Hope Lives is a community-based resource program. We help individuals who are either, suffering from substance abuse disorder or from SMI diagnosis. What we do there is we have groups throughout the day. We also take our members out on outings. We try to do that maybe 3 times a week. We take them bowling on Fridays, on Saturdays. Now that the weather's kind of cold, we usually take them out to a movie on the weekends. Other than that, it's a place where individuals can come in to get that support. We can do one-on-ones with our clients. We can help them to get to, courts. We can help them to get, food boxes or go talk to their probation officers. We're just a huge advocate for our members, like anything that they need, we're willing to go and assist them with it, help them, even if it's doctor appointments, speaking with their case managers for, medications, all those kind of things. How would they get referred there? We have a lot of people that get referred from the probation department, from recovery court. It is a requirement that they have insurance, because we do bill for them. So we can also help with that, take them to the ES, help them to get up on access and all of that. But other than that, it's totally 100% free. None of our members ever have to pay anything. We also have, breakfast, recovery, lunch throughout the day. So yeah, it's just a place, it's a very safe place where people can come, and if they need to speak with somebody, they can pick any of us that are there to speak with, and just get that help that they need. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I can share a little bit more about what our program does specifically. So what we do is, of course, we provide free peer support is our main focus, but we also help clients with linkages to care, whether it's getting on mat services, going to doctor's appointments, anything like that. But we also advocate for our clients that are incarcerated or that are with probation officers. We meet with our clients on a regular basis, or at least I do my best to do that. I have written letters, like letters for them for their courts systems. I also have gotten a lot of people into treatment. The main thing about our program is that we meet people where they're at. It doesn't require you to be sober, right? So we are not an abstinence-based program. Basically, so we meet people where they're at, whether they're using or not. And I'm grateful. Our program is the main focus is to keep people alive, which I'm grateful for. I'm a person that is in recovery. I've been sober for 12 years. So if somebody asked me about recovery things, I definitely share my experience, but I never push that on people. Like Sarah was talking about, we definitely like to have their client be the author of their own recovery journey, and we're just there to assist them with that, you know. So I think our program is pretty amazing. We have a lot of resources that partners that we work with, that help us in this process.
One question, and Button talking, thank you very much for sharing about your programs and about your experiences. Do you see an opportunity for a greater use of peer support in Flagstaff?
I do, you know, when I have about 3 years in recovery now. I've been sober for about 3 years. And you know, when I first started this journey, you know, I was in a really bad place. And Hope Lives is somewhere that, you know, I didn't really know nothing about until I did. And when I went there, it was like the most welcoming, non-judgmental place, you know. And at first when I started going, it was just like during lunchtime and whatnot. But they really helped me to see like that people with the past can have, you know, a career. People with the past can have a future, you know what I mean, in this field. And that gave me a lot of hope. So just from my experiences and seeing, you know, individuals that have lived experience that are helping individuals, that made me feel like more welcome, more open, and it made me want to be a part of something like that. So I think that the importance of it is, you know, you can't teach this stuff. You can't teach lived experience in a book. You can't go to school for it, no matter what. And I feel that, you know, people with our experiences can really teach, or not teach, but speak to people and have them understand and have them, you know, feel comfortable enough, have them open up to us. Because when you're talking to, you know, a psychiatrist or somebody that's just read it in a book, it's very awkward. It's very, you know, I feel judged, you know, because I feel that they've never really understood addiction. They've never really felt how it is to be addicted to something. So I feel that, you know, with us, we've been there and we're able to, you know, be on the same level as our clients, be on the same level as our members, and it gives them that opportunity, you know, to realize that, hey, they can do it too. That this isn't it. This life isn't just for certain people, like it's open to everybody, and it doesn't matter what kind of past you've had.
Absolutely, yeah, I think there's a bigger need for this in the county for sure. It could benefit a lot of different programs. Because we think about it, like addiction touches everybody, right? It's your people in your family. We see judges, lawyers, prosecutors, everybody has addiction, right, that are in recovery. And to me, like I love what Jack was talking about is like, I know for myself, when I saw people that I used to run with or do things with and they were recovered, it instilled hope with me, right? So whenever I saw people doing better, it gave me the opportunity to want that, right? To pursue greater things and evolve. And I do believe that like peer work will be, it's only gonna grow from here, right? It's evidence-based that people do, you know, people will reintegrate into this society, you know, people come out of prison, right? And they come out of treatment centers and they get this thing, they get the support that they have, and then they start doing better things with their lives, right? So I do believe there's gonna be a higher need, and I think we're moving in that direction to break down those barriers that I was talking about. And for me, like being a part of that is so huge. Like to me, it's crazy. I know all the judges, they know me by my first name, right? They'll call me in court and if you knew me in my past life, that was not the thing, right? I would never be caught in courtroom. So to me, that was a big deal, you know, and I talked to lawyers and people in this community. Because we all have to, you know, get along, and we all have to live together. So I absolutely do believe that.
Thank you.
Nice. So we have another question from the chat. Can a parent that is dealing with a loved one who's struggling with addiction get support from you guys?
Okay, so we definitely do have parents that reach out to us and we let them know what the program entails. But ultimately, it is up to the client itself, right? And I'm more than willing to go talk to somebody, right? But it's a voluntary program. You know, for me, it took what it took, you know, it took me going to prison to stop. And I don't necessarily want that for the person, but if they show any kind of desire of wanting to change, then I'm there, you know, and then that's what we love to do. And just that little, see, sometimes the parents just need a little bit of support themselves. So we are more like, I can speak for myself, I'm more than willing to provide resources for that parent, because I also had a parent that had to watch me struggle, right? So I remember, and I've been given the opportunity, the second chance of life to hopefully reach out to, you know, whoever needs help is out there for it, right? So absolutely, we will never turn anybody away, or at least lead them in the right direction, you know.
And for Hope Lives, unfortunately, for us to speak with a parent, we would have to get an ROI signed by our members. We are an adult-only based community resource, so we only work with adults. And, you know, we really don't see too much parents, but you know, if they really are interested in their, you know, their child's recovery or whatever it might be, we just ask that they get an ROI and that we can communicate with their parents.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, I don't have any more questions in the chat. So I want to thank you guys again for being here and for sharing a little bit of your stories and for talking about your programs. Thank you, Sarah and John Plus, for being here today. I had explained to everybody that when we send out our email after the presentation, we'll include an evaluation. There will be a COJET certificate as well, and we'll include information about both programs that we talked about today. We'll include ways to refer clients to both of those programs. So if anybody has any questions post this presentation, hopefully the information you guys get in that email will help out. We'll give everybody's contact information. So again, I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yep.